Here.
Councilwoman Kristina Gonzalez.
Here.
Yep, for Mayor.
Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Cole, will you do this?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, councilors, is approval of the agenda. We have quite a few changes to the agenda, so do you, Ms. Vila, want to just go through those changes?
Yes, I asked if we can remove section 7A and B, along with section 8, letter E. And I believe we're adding to the executive session.
We're adding a second, you got a second executive session for land and water purchase. Or sales.
You said to table under presentations 7A and 7B?
Presentations A and B, and action items E.
Okay, that's the one we didn't get action. Okay.
And we also, on action item G, just change that to a trustee nominee, nominating board.
You're taking that one off too?
Changing verbiage.
Which
Oh,
is-
verbiage.
It's for the nominating board, it's not an actual trustee.
Oh, okay, okay. Make a motion to approve it with the agenda with those changes that were discussed by the mayor and the clerk.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Gallegos and a second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item is approval of the minutes, regular council meeting January 23rd, 2024. Councilors, did you all get a chance to read the minutes from my last meeting?
Motion to approve minutes as presented, Mayor.
Second. Motion by Councilwoman Gallegos, second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item is public comments. It's the policy of the governing body to accept public comment. Because your issue is not on the agenda, the governing body cannot respond immediately, but may direct staff to address the issues at a future council meeting. Public comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Would you all just come up and state your name for the record?
Thank you, sir.
Brent.
Yeah, my name is Tim Long. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. I have a statement here I'd like to read, if that's okay. I'm here today on behalf of myself as a private citizen, as well as on behalf of the Questa History Tour Committee, to ask you to reconsider any actions to demolish or condemn La Cienega Historic School Building. I shall attempt to outline my reasons for this request under 3 topics: historic value, cultural value, and economic and legal considerations. The historic value of La Cienega's north building may or may not be known to all present. This structure was built as a project under the WPA Works Project Administration, a program that built many thousands of schools, post office, community centers, parks, and other structures throughout the United States. The WPA began as a means to lift working Americans out of poverty and despair, unto which was experienced through the Great Depression. These historic structures are part of our heritage, part of our DNA. They are not meant to be blithely cast aside. La Cienega has graduated many classes of high school students, probably some of your parents and grandparents. Many of you present, no doubt, have memories of attending this school, eating in the cafeteria, dodging a flying eraser chucked by Mr. H.R. Rael, or perhaps being pulled by the ear via Principal Brent Ortega. There are many, many memories we all have in this building. The cultural value of La Cienega goes way beyond me as a newcomer, although I am here 50 years as of this month. However, we have witnessed that my wonderful people of Questa are fiercely independent. We work hard, we play hard, we like to do things our own way. And yet, I have never experienced a more generous and caring community. The people of Questa truly care about one another and what represents this community. It is my belief that La Cienega is one such representation. I know that there really is no comparison of La Cienega to St. Anthony's Church. One is a school, one is a church. However, when the people of Questa were faced with a decaying church and the powers that be said, "We will build you a new church," the people said, "No. We want to restore our original church. There is too much of us in this structure. It is who we are." And they did it. Now, there is a beautifully restored church in the center of our community that we are all very proud to enjoy, to pray, and to share. Is there not a similarity in the cultural connection, connected with La Cienega? Do we not have a responsibility to restore this part of our culture and heritage as well? The economic and legal considerations. One of the first avenues of communication for such a request is to reach out to our local political representatives. So here we are. There are other state and federal levels of representation that we can pursue as well as other preservation organizations. But let's consider some of the possible economic incentives and benefits of restoration. Tax credits. Historic sites are often eligible for types of historic preservation tax credits. Conservation easements. The property can be designated as such to a preservation trust in exchange for tax benefits. The National Park Service is an excellent resource on this. Adaptive reuse. Older buildings can be modernized on the inside, keeping their exteriors preserved. In the past, this structure was used as a daycare facility, meeting space, workout room, and other purposes. There are so many potential opportunities for such space. Commercial kitchen, food pantry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You far exceeded your time and I allowed it.
Could I submit this to the...
Yes, sir.
Please?
Definitely, for sure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and council members, for my time here.
Thank you for keeping this on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Flavio Cisneros. I have a lot to say, but I only have 3 minutes. And sometimes I get a little emotional when I talk about things that don't matter. La Cienega School is one of those entities that really touches my heart. And I would like to plead with you to reconsider whatever decision you have made about demolishing that structure. I look at where we have come from, how everything that has transpired has shaped us, and I look and see, with the impending demolition, what do we bequeath our posterity? What do we tell our children? That we have the chance to preserve some of our history, and we decided to look the other way. I don't think that we should go that way. I'm hoping that you will look at it that way too. I have a vested interest in this community. My family tree goes back 150 years, and I'm very proud of that heritage. I would like to be even prouder of saying, you know, I had a say-so in the preservation of that building. And so again, I ask you, I plead with you, I beg you, do what you can to preserve that beautiful structure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cisneros.
Mr. Mayor, council people, I'm gonna finish reading Tim's missive.
Can you just,
Pardon
state
me?
your name for the record, Ms. Masters?
Oh, Jeannie Masters, everybody knows. Should.
But it's for the record.
Anyway, adaptive reuse. Older buildings can be modernized on the inside, keeping their exteriors preserved. In the past, this structure was used as a daycare facility, meeting space, workout room, and other purposes. There are so many potential opportunities for such a space. Commercial kitchen, food pantry distribution, that's a biggie where I'm concerned. Craft space, dancing, etc. There is so much infrastructure already there. It would be a shame to not see this to be utilized. Environmental benefits of preservation. Studies show that building reuse almost always yields fewer environmental impacts than new construction. Another factor to consider in this is this WPA project buildings. Were built to last. The foundation, floor, and thick walls are a beautiful presentation of craftsmanship and building techniques that are not readily seen today. Truly, it would be a shame to see this type of longevity go the way of the wrecking ball. For the sake of our memories, our history, and our culture, I ask, please reconsider the demolition and/or condemnation of La Cienega North Building. Mr. Mayor, council members, I thank you for your time and consideration. As an addendum, I would like to, everybody knows I'm involved with the food pantry. There are at least 2 older ladies that won't drive up the hill to get groceries, and clearly they need them because of the drive up there. And we had talked before, Melaquias, who is the chair of the QDEC or whatever.
QEDF.
Okay, QEDF. Called me the other day about getting another building to distribute. That would be safe. That up there is not safe for the volunteers. We're all getting older. Our clients are older. And above all, we have to be safe, I think. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Masters, and just so you're aware, I have been looking for a building that is habitable for the food pantry to get off the hill. Right now, that building is, number 1, it has asbestos, number 2, it has lead paint. The ceilings have caved in, and a good portion of it, the walls and floors have caved in, so that is not an option to use right now. It's going to take multi-million dollars just to clean it up in order to restore it.
In talking to Malaquias, I said you could build this in Butler building at the industrial park. It doesn't equate. A Butler building, metal building, to saving that, in my opinion and my heart, it does not equate. We need to save that, whatever it takes.
I'm all willing to listen to any options. I do know when the church walls were falling, we had a committee that came forward and said, we'll take it over. I'd be willing to donate that building. I will be honest with you, I was on the council when we took possession of that building, and I voted against taking possession of it because I knew we were going to be stuck with the building that we'll never afford to repair it. There's no way.
Yes.
There's no
That's
way.
that's what the archdiocese said about the church, John.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was a way.
But I guess my point is, are you willing to raise the funding to restore it? I don't see that.
I helped raise money for the church.
If you're willing to do that, and does the community take it on? I think
We're
that's an
all,
option.
this community, I believe, can pull together to do that, Mr. Mayor.
I'm all good with it. If you guys have a solution to do so, we're all ears.
Okay. Very well. Thank you very much.
Next item, anyone else for public comments? Anyone call in this week for public comment, staff? Next item is our new item 7A, the housing assessment. We have Ms. Lisa O'Brien from Taos Housing Partnership.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, audience. That was a perfect segue, because what I want to talk very briefly about is what I do as the Executive Director for Taos Housing Partnership and how that organization came to be. So I just want to piggyback on what I heard is that community coming together to address a really big problem is on all of us. And thank you. I wanted to share with everyone that I'm here on behalf of Taos Housing Partnership, which at this moment in time is me as an executive director, and as of about 3 weeks ago, I have a consultant who's working with me, Alexandra Goldman, who you will all get to know also, and she's working 10 hours a week. So I can't say enough about, when we're talking, I'm going to start talking about housing. And everyone's going to go, oh my God, housing is like, you know, this massive thing that we're all struggling with. Taos Housing Partnership came out of initially a group of us in leadership, and it was primarily based in Taos County. It was working as the director of Taos Community Foundation at the time. And we got a group together. It was really talking about how to keep folks in their home with rental protection assistance when we were all faced with COVID. So this is a great example of how we all kind of started chewing on how are we going to deal with folks that are facing eviction because of a pandemic. What came out of those conversations that the Community Foundation, and I know you're very familiar with the Lord Foundation, it was the two philanthropic organizations in our community that came together. And we hired a consultant, a woman named Jen Lopez. Her company is called Project Moxie. She's based out of Durango. And she is an absolute expert in affordable housing initiatives. And she became our kind of guru, for lack of a better word, to kind of help us figure out how we were going to start talking about housing beyond rental assistance. Yes. It was an 18-month process to get to where I came on as the executive director in May. So I also have to just constantly lay out the groundwork. This did not happen overnight. What I shared with all of you council members, and I have one extra copy, and I will tell you this is on Taos Housing Partnership's website. This is our 3-year recommended housing roadmap. And this came out of community conversations. So I want to just share as kind of a precursor to what I'm here to talk about, what we're going to do in partnership with the village of Questa, and particularly bringing a housing assessment work and process to the village and this region up here is to talk a little bit about that roadmap. What you will see in the roadmap is a lot of very specific strategies. And we looked at this from an approach of, there were a lot of things to do, and it wasn't just one organization. We couldn't rely on government entities to get us figuring out how we were going to have more affordable housing. We all know the issues. We have a limited amount of workforce. We don't have a lot of developers. The cost of housing to build a house has gone up. Mortgage rates don't even get me started, because when we started this conversation, what we were looking at being able to sort of bring to community felt very doable. I'm now looking at gaps of trying to get folks into homes that they can afford. And when we talk about affordability, we don't want people paying more than 30% of what their income is, whether or not that's for a mortgage or whether or not that's for rental and utilities. So I know everybody sits in their seats and goes, oh my gosh, what am I paying? We all do it. And I will tell you a very large percentage of our county residents pay more than 30%. So we all then know what the cost burden of that is we've got a higher increase at our food pantries. We have more challenges and more stress for our families, and that's on all of us to try and figure out what we're doing. So, Taos Housing Partnership, 3 phases, 18 months. It got us to this roadmap, which has some very specific strategies that we are addressing. I have to tell you, this is for the entire county. So we did not develop this just for the town of Taos, which means that there's opportunities for Questa and Red River and Penasco to sort of fit into this plan as well. some of the things that we're gearing up to roll out, and I promise I will get to the space of what we're going to do specifically here, but this is good. We will be introducing homebuyer education classes, and that's not just take a class and get a certificate. You can do that in a 4-hour class. We are going to provide sort of I'm going to say the advocacy, the house, the home counselor with it, because we know that a lot of our families, it's not like you take a class and then you figure out what you can afford and then you go buy a house. We all know that we don't have the stock, for one thing. So we're approaching this from kind of this very, very complicated place, because it's building the pipeline up of individuals who are ready to purchase a home, have made a decision they want to be homeowners, and they know what that whole process is going to be for a mortgage. And then we're trying to figure out how we're building up the stock. Because if you build the pipeline in one direction and then not the other, you have a whole bunch of people who are ready to purchase a home, but we don't have it. I will tell you, in June of last year, when we finished this report, there were 4 houses in the entire county that were under $300,000.
Wow.
That's the reality that we all have. So, Taos Housing Partnership, myself and my colleague of 10 hours a week, we are doing our darndest to try and figure out kind of how we're going to move all of these spaces. It is not just Taos Housing Partnership that's in on this. We are working very closely with the town of Taos. We are working very closely with Taos County. We are diving into land use ordinances. We are looking at comprehensive planning, because obviously all of those pieces are going to be what we all have to figure out from a community perspective of how we're going to move the needle on getting folks into affordable houses, which includes building. So, as of tonight, I signed the contract. I want to give a nod to Lynn. She's been a very strong supporter of Taos Housing Partnership as we've been kind of like getting in gear. And she called and said, hey, there's some interest in having some report, some roadmap. I won't even call it a report, because we all get reports, right? Everyone read it and it goes on the shelf. This is like, I work every single day on this roadmap. Like, where am I on benchmark number 17? So what we talked about doing, and what we just signed a contract with tonight, is that Taos Housing Partnership. I also have a technical team, so it's not just me and my 10-hour-a-week amazing friend Alexandra. Project Moxie is also they're on our technical team. So there's a whole group of experts that come with me and come as part of Taos Housing Partnership. What we signed as a contract is to do just phase 1. It was very important for us when we were in conversation to say, it's not, what we do for Questa and the village of Questa and the region of Questa is not going to necessarily look like this. It's going to be different, because there are the unique aspects of every community. So what we signed today is a contract to do phase 1. And essentially what that will be, it will be very similar to how we rolled this out, which is, I don't know anything about Questa housing. So we're going to come out and we're going to start talking to folks, and we'll do that individually. Because what we're trying to get to is, what are those nuggets of, what are the opportunities here? What land do you have? What are the infrastructure spaces where we can easily get to something kind of percolating up? Where is their interest? Who might have land to donate? And then also looking at what are some of the barriers. There's barriers in every single community. And I'm finding it's not because people don't want things to happen, it's just because every community is a little different. County has very little land, the town's got more land, so how they approach housing is very different. So phase 1 for Taos Housing Partnership with this endeavor will be a couple things. We're going to form a very small steering committee. That's a conversation I'm having with Lynn probably tomorrow about, okay, who are those 4 or 5 folks that we can say, this is the core team. That could be community members, it could be elected officials, it could be staff, it could be whoever you say. These are the folks who are going to lean into, we're going to say, yep, this is the team we're going to work with. And then we're going to build out a list of individuals we're going to interview. And that interview will be very tight. It's not, well, what do you think? It's going to be the same 17 or 22 questions asked of every single person. So historically, from your perspective, what have been the challenges? And then we kind of culminate all of that together, and then from that point, we'll probably then start moving into a phase 2, which is going to be like, great, now what do we need to dive into? What are the land use policies? Wow, this really came up as an issue, so how do we kind of dig down into that a little deeper? This first phase, I didn't even look, I think we went, we're starting in February, here we are, and I think we're going to go through June. So this is going to be fast-paced. This is not going to be the thing that we go, okay, we'll see you in 6 weeks, and then we'll kind of pick it up. We're looking at really diving in here to get this work rolling. So that's what I want to say is sort of step 1, phase 1, and I see questions already.
Yes, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
this part of it, I think is very important. I'm not sure what you or the next committee or whatever is going to think about it, but because of where we live, water rights.
Yep.
You're talking mortgages. Half of these people, or some of these people in this town, are not up to date on their water rights. So you need to, if you can, incorporate that into your phase 1. As you're looking at the housing, look at the water rights that go along with the property.
Yep. What we're finding, and I'll just use the example that becomes one of the big barriers we're watching happen in I'm going to say in town, so in Taos, is that because the cost of building has gone up so much, and I'll just share, my husband's a builder, so I hear about it when I go home from a very different perspective, is that so much of the cost is under the ground. If we don't have infrastructure and you don't have land, those two things right there end up being the add-on. So what we're trying to, those become all of the things when you get into conversations about what are you going to build and where is it going to be. I chuckle all the time, I'm going to borrow your Coke can if I can. Because what I get oftentimes is like, Lisa, what does it look like? I go, I don't know. But what I can guarantee you is almost every single time someone says, well, I think it should look like this. And I think it should be over here. And the conversation stops. So we're going to get into all of those things. Because obviously as we start kind of mapping out where could development go? And I don't know what it is up here. In Taos, people get really itchy when the word development comes up. And I'm going, we gotta have those conversations. So those become the questions of, is it around the business park? There's needs of Chevron, there's needs in Red River. All of those things are gonna kind of come into play. What I think this first phase is gonna give you is just it's gonna give you the feedback on what folks in your community's experiences with why housing hasn't moved and what they want. So obviously it's not just coming in and going, okay, we're going to do a 40 unit and it's going to look over here and this is what it's going to look like. That doesn't work. So most of this is really around community engagement to open up the can of worms to really get down in the weeds, so to speak, about why and how do we get things moving forward. This is not prescriptive from me at all. I will tell you, when I interviewed for this job, I kept saying, I don't know housing. I don't know housing. I don't know housing. And if Brent was here, he would laugh because I say that all the time to him. If we have to figure out what the steps are moving forward. And that doesn't happen until we get everybody kind of on the same page in terms of what the perceptions are in this community about why housing has or hasn't moved forward and what some of those barriers are. And then two, what are the things we have to learn about this community that may not be what we learned in Taos. So me being here tonight is really just one sign of contract, which we're good. And then two, to say we will have a launch meeting. And that again will most likely be with a steering committee and with Lynn and with our technical team and with Alexandra, who we will meet, and then we'll start laying out that this is sort of what it's going to look like. I love to come up here, so this is not the kind of thing that if you're not on the steering committee, you're not going to know what's going on. I know how important it is for everybody to be involved in all of the steps of getting to the next phase. But I also need to say, like, having a group of 50 people is not the most efficient. So we all know that space as well. So I hope my phone number's in there. I will leave my cards here. Please go to our website, check out what we're doing. Again, most of the strategies that are outlined in that plan are going to benefit Questa regardless of what we do with phase 1 or 2 or 3 moving forward. So I fully anticipate that when I get to the place of having a home buyer education class, and we'll have one up here. So this is not, again, like, oh, this is the work we're doing in Taos, and this is the work we're going to do in Questa. Like, sorry, we're all here, and it's just, we're going to figure it out. But it's big, and we all know that. And it's big, and we all know that. So how's that for an ending? Any other questions?
Your website is taoshousinpartnership.org.
That's it. Thank you.
Any questions, Councilors?
Thank you for your presentation, Mrs. Bryan. I know this, and forgive me if I ask you something that's in this, but we haven't had a chance to go through this. I know it's talking about housing. Is there anything that you can offer for older buildings like what we were discussing earlier?
Yeah.
Is this strictly housing, single family dwelling homes?
I will tell you, when I worked for Taos Community Foundation and I read the Questa Lodgers project, I thought that was the most brilliant idea in the world. I mean, it just made sense. It's not something that Taos Housing Partnership is taking on directly in terms of finding financing to do rehab, and I'll be very honest with you. What I have learned in my tenure here and what I hear from my technical team is it's very difficult to administer. So again, Taos Housing Partnership at this point in our own space, I will tell you, I just filed the 1023, which is the application to the IRS to formally become a 501c. We're still in administrative kind of build-up. We're not there yet. The same question comes up with, can you assist with rentals? And I'm like, ugh, I wish I could say yes, but what we had to do is get really clear on what was manageable for us. There are some programs that are kind of rolling down the pike. So Mortgage Finance Authority did put some money out this last year specifically for rehab. The question that we always are faced with, as I'm saying, the we as a collective small community, is we oftentimes don't have an organization that has the capacity to apply for that type of funding and then do it. And unfortunately, I think that's some of where that money is. So if I can assist with that to sort of go, how do we make those connections? Absolutely, but in terms of taking it on as another programmatic piece, I have to say no right now. I think for all of us, one of my biggest challenges, and I'll be very frank, since I started this position, is acknowledging that the need is as great as it is, and not one organization can take it all on. So trying to be very cognizant of the fact that yes, we identify that as a need, and then how do we figure out, how do we maybe create a bridge or align with another organization that may be in a better position to do it. Right now, I'm a person of one. So those are all the kinds of things that we start exploring. I'll just give one other very quick example. Very early on in my new role, is getting a lot of phone calls from individuals who are in affordable housing units and are having a terrible experience with property management. So all of those issues and concerns around tenant rights, I get phone calls on, and they're delicate. And I understand it from a renter's perspective. They don't want to be the one who's like banging on the door and hosting a community meeting because they're afraid they're going to be evicted if they cause too much trouble. And there's reality in that. In that situation, because I can't take that on, I've partnered with New Mexico Legal Aid, and we're going to start rolling out at the end of March, probably a couple of community meetings where there can be presentations by New Mexico Legal Aid. They're the experts in it. They know what they're doing. And then possibly even developing some actual clinics where people could sign up, come in with an application of complaint, and actually meet with a New Mexico legal aid attorney who will help them through that process. Those are the kinds of things that I'm finding that's responsibility for me to do, that I don't just go, oh, sorry, it's not in the strategy report, I don't want to know about it. So we've got to find those ways to kind of either create new professional relationships or put things up on the wall and go, okay, that's a really big problem. We haven't quite figured it out, but how do we strategize around it? And oftentimes, how do we sequence it? Because we will be in a moment where you go, oh my goodness, there's too much. I'll tell you, I had that moment not too long ago. But you move forward with it, and you create relationships, and you do your darndest, and you know it's going to have to happen at every single level. So where does government make some changes? Where does philanthropy come in? Where do we have community voice come in? Where do we have individuals who can say, hey, I've got 5 acres. I could donate that land, and we create process around how we accept those kinds of gifts. So there's a lot in this report. And I am more than happy to come up here as often as you want me to sort of update and do all those kinds of things. But I'm very excited to sort of jump into this endeavor. And I hope it's good for all of you as well. Yay! Don't hesitate to call, we'll have the email. And again, this report, this was, 18 months, you'll see the history of how it came to be. And there's a lot of folks that assisted in that. This was not Lisa O'Brien going, oh, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write this report. It's a lot of voice, and there's a lot of expertise behind this. I will just add on that Jen Lopez, she actually, she testified at a Senate hearing in DC about 4 weeks ago, and it was so exciting. I have folks in our group going like, oh my God, I know her. I know her. So I share this because we've got a lot of expertise that's kind of in this realm, and I'm grateful for that every single day because I learn about it every single moment. So there's a lot here for us to bring forward that's really about best practice in the affordable housing realm right now. And there's an awful lot of discussion happening nationwide because everybody's facing it.
Mhm.
Yep. Thank you. I know I took a lot of time.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Next item, we have Ms. Lynn's call area was Second Association.
Yeah, I'm sorry that Judy is not here tonight. I want to start by just saying that I handed out to all of you sort of a report of what the QEDF has been up to over the past couple of months, something that goes in our board packet, and I'm not going to go through it all because there's a lot of information there. Just to follow up with Lisa's presentation, thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation. I see my role in Questa is to make sure that Questa's not left out of any of the things that are happening in this county. And I am in Taos all the time. I'm on the chamber board, I'm on the hospital board, and our situation in Questa is so different than any other part of the county that this housing assessment is essential to figure out what we need. And it will be part of what Lisa does with her 3-year roadmap. It's going to reflect a lot of that, but it's also going to be specific to our community. We have some tremendous opportunities here with Chevron, some of the land that possibly the village has, but what we're going to do is take all of the information that they've worked on for Taos, but then we're going to have Lisa and her team zero it in for Questa, because it's important that we have a plan for our community. So we really appreciate that. And I initially went to Lisa and I said, Lisa, who can do this assessment? I'm trying to find someone. And she goes, well, I can do it. And I was like, that is so phenomenal because we have somebody that knows our community, that knows the dynamics of the politics in the community, and we're very fortunate to have the expertise behind the team that she has. So I'm going to do a quick update on the Area-Wide Safety Association. Lauren Bell, who is the director of the state that I'm going to talk about. Lauren Bell is the Channis Circle Trails Association Director, and he could not be here tonight. So we're going to do that presentation on the 27th. But I will just give you a quick update on the Area-wide Acequia Association. So over the past, not quite a year, we've had 7 public meetings to talk about how the 15 separate acequias in our community from San Cristobal all the way up to the Colorado border, how we could bring them together to create one voice and an organization that supports all of them. And that support is advocating at the legislature, even to the federal government. That is also to help with administration of water issues, because there are so many laws and regulations around acequias that even the people that have been working in acequias, their families for hundreds of years, these policies and regulations change all the time. And so by having a central association, very similar to what Judy operates with at the Taos Valley Acequia Association, she is a clearinghouse for that information. She can make sure that we're all up to date on it. And our association will do that. So after these 7 public meetings, there's a lot of talking about emotional issues. Water is a very, very emotional issue. And right now with our climate changing, it's very difficult. But part of what we're trying to do here is to bring everybody together as one big family so that we can all work on these issues together. The point of it is to preserve and to protect the water rights that Questa has and not let them leave our community. And if we do that together, we have a stronger voice. So at our last meeting, which was early in January, the group and all of us decided that we would move forward with a steering committee. And the steering committee will be made up of at least 1 representative from each of the acequias, so 15 people. Judy Torres will be the facilitator for the steering committee. Like Lisa was talking about housing, I also don't know much about acequias. I don't know much about water rights. It's a very complicated thing that I know about this much. But Judy knows a lot. Again, she's our expert. So she's going to facilitate. She's not going to direct. She's not going to guide the steering committee to say, you need to do this. The steering committee is going to come together and they're going to say, well, we'd like our organization to be able to do this. Can we do that? Can we apply for grants? Her association doesn't do that, but that doesn't mean ours can't. So the steering committee will get together in May. So right between now and May, there's not going to be a lot happening. But I just sent out information today that we want to make sure that each of the acequias understands that this is the process we're going to go through, and we'll keep reminding them that they need to appoint or have a volunteer from their acequia that they would like to have represent them on the steering committee. And we picked May because a lot of the acequias have their annual meetings in the spring. And so in May, Judy will call a meeting and bring together those 15 representatives, and maybe it'll be more, whatever it ends up being. Because we want the community and the acequias to figure it out, to change it together. Chevron has been the funder. They donated a grant to the QEDF, $60,000 in 23, and another $50,000 is coming in 2024. Our objective is that the Acequia Association has some kind of structure that grant can go directly to them and not have to pass through QEDF. So that will make all of those individual Acequia associations even stronger to have that more solid base. They're all solid on their own. They all have good governance. None of that is going to change. It just gives them a champion to help them with different issues that they're each experiencing. Bring in a consultant that can work with all of them. So that's where we are with our Acequia Association. And I appreciate all of you that have been to any of those meetings, because it's been really interesting to hear the different comments and to get opinions, and the Acequia needs and the Acequia dynamics are very different, even from San Cristobal to the Colorado border. They're very different. So very excited that this is going to be coming together in the spring, and I'm open for any questions.
Any questions from Ms. Paul?
No questions. I'd just like to say thank you for being involved with this and getting it off the ground, because it is something very important and very badly needed. It was like when I was first elected in the early 2000s, the county, or the Enchanted Circle, formed a regional board. And so that board had more say and more voice at the legislative side than we as single entities. So this ditch association, this Acequia association, will do the same thing. So yes, I am very happy to see that it's coming through.
Thank you. And any other questions? I'll be back on the 27th with Lauren. We'll talk about a couple of the other initiatives that are on our docket that I handed out. And after reading this, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or call me. I'm happy to talk about any of these. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
The next item is discussion, consideration, decision, resolution 2024-3, acceptance of extension for Embargo Road. Mr. Laforet.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to, before I begin, I just wanted to bring to your attention that there are some typos on the agenda, and I don't know how you wish to proceed with this particular action items. Resolution number 2024-03 is actually an acceptance of an extension for a Bresto Road project. And then,
instead of requesting?
I'm sorry?
Is that what the typo is? Acceptance instead of requesting?
No, the typo is that resolution number 2024-03 references Embargo Road, but it actually is for Cabresto Road. And then, likewise, resolution number 2024-04 is not for Lower Embargo Road, it's for another Cabresto Road grant as well.
So, do we have any kind of time frame to get this done? Deadline?
To get them redone?
Yeah, the extensions, do we?
So
does it need to be done this meeting?
it doesn't have to be done this meeting. We can move it to next meeting. And we could have all the resolution numbers in order, referencing the correct roads and all that kind of stuff. Because I would probably have to redo the resolution itself before you signed it or whatever. But because the agenda was already approved, I don't know how to proceed from here.
Yeah, I think it'd be better to table these items.
I think to keep it clean and
Yeah.
make sure that we're transparent, we're not, I think we're better off if.
I apologize, that's why you saw me running in and out of here.
Yeah.
I just noticed it. It's no fault of the clerk, she was giving the wrong information. So,
So is it just those three, A, B, and C?
it's A, B, and C, yes ma'am.
I don't know if it's appropriate to table them or just. Chris, this is a question for you.
Sure, and I would not recommend tabling them, just because tabling would not allow us to change the language of the action itself. So I'll just indicate that there is no decision in relation to those due to the typo error and place that on the minutes.
So, and that even goes back to action item G, where I started the two, added the wording, the trustee nominating board. Should we just table that one, or not table it, but remove that as well?
And I'm sorry, Mayor, I guess I don't understand. What is the concern with letter G? I heard the A, B, and C concerns, but I didn't hear what letter G's concern was.
Item G is not for a trustee nominee, it's for the trustee nominating board. So that language needs to be changed as well.
Well, they're asking that we appoint a representative by February 16th because they're having a meeting in March. which we could still do it at the next meeting, because that's not March yet. But they did, request to have it selected by February 16th.
And that language isn't as concerning, because what's the difference here? The trustee nominee, and it should be, what is the correct language?
Just the nominating board.
Both for the Holy Cross Hospital Board though?
Yeah.
Then, you know, based on that language, I think it's close enough that the citizens would have an understanding that this would be an individual placed on the Holy Cross Hospital Board, just because that trustee language is there. I don't think makes any significant difference to this, so I'd be comfortable allowing that action item to continue, just because it does not deter from the fact that there is going to be a discussion regarding the Holy Cross Hospital Board itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So Mayor, I don't know if you still wanted to have a discussion about the extensions or just note in the minutes that no discussion was held because of the typos? Or?
I think appropriately we should just have no discussion, no action. Just
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I apologize, and we'll do better next time.
No problem.
do we need to do that by motion, Chris, and vote?
No, I mean, at this point, we could either do one of two things. One, we could remove those by a vote to modify the agenda, or we could just simply indicate that this was a typo concern and that A, B, and C will not have action items. Seeing as no action is taken, it does not require a vote.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to item D, discussion, consideration, decision, acceptance of procurement, Shirley Drive, CES. Miss VU, Miss Procurement Officer.
Mayor, Council, I have a little frog in my throat, so don't mind me. I did include in your packet the drafted contract for the CES procurement for Shirley Drive. This is just basically stating the work that will be done on Shirley Drive. And I have went ahead and gone through CES for the procurement. I did include the drafted contract in your packet. If you have any questions, please let me know. This was in our update from last week, so I don't want to drown you with information again. But if you have any questions, please let me know.
Do you have any questions on this contract?
No questions.
Yeah, this is going to be with NV5, correct?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve the acceptance of procurement for Shirley Drive.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Gonzalez, a second by Councilwoman Gallegos. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez. Yes.
Next item is discussion, consideration, decision of acceptance for procurement for village request of bulk equipment.
This is also very similar. You will see two draft contracts in your packet, along with the final design for the new Questa playground. One of them is for Creative Recreational Designs, and the second contract is for BCL Enterprises, Inc. They're broken down like that because Creative Recreational Designs are the people who purchase the equipment, and BCL is the company that puts them together. They are part of the same umbrella. but we just wanted to make sure that everybody was concise and clear when putting this park equipment together. And then I have also included the final design of the park, including color, and the final structure of all the amenities that are going along with it. I stand for any questions. I did speak on this, not last meeting, but the meeting before that. I stand for any questions, if you should have any, on the two drafted contracts. We did go through CES for both of these as well.
I guess my question here is going to be, should it be two different action items since it's two different contracts?
It's for the same company though. So I'm not sure. You guys would ask Chris. Creative recreational designs is BCL houses, they house BCL. What do you think, Chris?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that original question. Can you say that again?
The mayor's asking if I should have two separate action items for the Village of Questa park equipment, since we have two separate contracts, one for the builders and one for the purchase of the equipment, but they're the same company, under the same company.
So they're separate companies, but what is occurring is that Creative Play is the overall contractor, and they are subcontracting with the other company to provide or to actually build the playground itself. So it would be the same as a general contract that we do in all cases. As such, the village would traditionally just contract with the general contractor, and then the subcontracting would go from the Creative Play to that third-party element. So there only needs to be one contract.
So this is the same contract, we just broke it down for both of them to understand. When I procured it through CES, I did it for the entire amount, for creative recreational designs and BCL as well. I didn't break them up in CES.
Sounds good. Sounds like we can take action on it then. I just wanted to make sure, Ms. Villa, that
We didn't need two action items.
we didn't need two action items.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'll make the motion that we accept the procurement on both these contracts. Right?
Yes, sir. Motion by Councilman Gonzalez, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos?
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kristina Gonzalez?
Yes.
Next item is discussion, consideration, decision, Holy Cross Hospital Board of Trustee nominating board. I know this is the one that you've all been waiting for to decide. You've been fighting over or thinking about volunteering for all day long, or are any of you interested in serving on this nominating committee?
Let me see the letter again.
Councilman Jaramillo is not here tonight, so. Be careful what meetings you miss. But I also know he would decline the nomination because he would cite a conflict of interest between him and the hospital, so I don't think we'd ever do that to him. And we can also select a member of our staff to be on this nominating committee as well.
This is the one I was on last year, right, Mayor?
Yes, sir. Yes, Councilor.
It wasn't that
How many
difficult.
times did you meet?
4 or 5 times. It wasn't that much. And I'm in Taos all the time. I mean, if you want me to do it again, I can do it. I'm always there. So.
We would appreciate that.
We'd appreciate that,
Gonzalez with a Z.
Well, can I entertain a motion to nominate Councilman?
I make a motion to nominate Councilor Jason Gonzalez to the Holy Cross Hospital Board.
Second.
Okay, nominating committee board.
Lovely choice.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos?
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kristina Gonzalez?
Yes.
Do you realize the three of us have a G to start our last name? Okay, sorry.
Thank you,
I just
Councilor,
realized.
volunteering for that committee.
Yeah, I'm always there, anyways. It wasn't.
Next item is executive session.
Motion to go into executive session, Mayor.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Gallegos, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez.
Yes.
Are you recording too?
Wait.
Motion by Councilwoman Gallegos, second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Katrina Gonzalez.
Yes.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the first and second motion, please?
Councilwoman Gallegos was the motion, Councilwoman Gonzalez is the second. Mr. De Filippo, are you back on? Mr. De Filippo, can you assert that the only things that were discussed during the executive session were what were on the agenda for executive session?
Yes, Mayor, I can confirm that the only items that were discussed during the executive sessions are the items that were labeled on the agenda, as well as the modified agenda during the initial course of the council meeting.
Next item is updates from village attorney.
Thank you, Mayor, and I do not have any specific updates in relation to any topics that I believe are prevalent at this point, but should you folks have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer.
No questions, Mayor.
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. De Filippo. Next item is matters from the clerk and human resource department.
I tried to put a small update together of stuff that I think might be relevant. So we do have a new hire at the library. We ended up hiring Andy Ortega. She started a couple weeks ago, and Sharon said that she's doing really well. The Connex box over at the PD, we finally found somebody to move it, and so that will hopefully be moved next week. We did receive a $500 grant from Taos Community Foundation for our Easter event. And we have all decided to brave the cold and keep it outside. So this will be March 30th because Easter lands on March 31st this year. And then we are going to be sending 2 of our employees to be certified in EMS emergency ambulance billing.
Oh, good.
One of them is Amy, and the other one is Darian over at EMS. So Darian will be Renell's backup, and Amy will be Darian's backup whenever Darian can't be there. And then the new business licenses are rolling in. Deadline was is March 15th. So as of right now, we have about 53 active businesses within the village of Questa. I will get you a list of those for next meeting, and I'll just include it in the packet so you guys can take a peek at them.
Thank you.
I just haven't ran them all, but there's about between 50 and 55 active businesses within the village of Questa.
Mr. LaFleur, do you have any updates, any questions, updates, or anything that you want to discuss?
No, I don't think so, not at this time, Mayor.
I also forgot to mention, there is a water leak that the guys are currently working on right now. And we just got an update that they're still out there.
They're still out there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I was told that it's right in front of the gas station. So
Yeah, it's in those hot
yeah.
and ugly spike face.
So we were able to use our new communication system, TextMyGov, to send out a mass text message to
within that area. We still need a lot more people to opt in, so if you guys can just share the information with our constituents. We will be sharing emergencies such as water leaks and stuff like that, events and communication. It's really simple. They just have to text VOQ alerts to 91896. And if they have questions, everything is up already on our website, which is questa-nn.com. And that way people can get alerts if they're, like today this affected quite a few areas.
40-some people.
Yeah, about 40-some people, including residents and businesses. So if the more people opt in, the more people know, and the less panic there is if they're educated properly.
There is going to be another reminder in the Questa del Rio March issue for opting in and instructions.
Did you guys all get the text?
No.
I didn't either.
Well, because it didn't concern us. The text goes to just the people.
She sent in the mapping feature today.
So we have two features. We have an overall opt-in text where if you opt in to any and all communications, and then we have a mapping feature where we can select certain areas that will only, so like today, it affected a certain area in Questa. We're able to just highlight those people and send it directly to those people. That way, like if somebody, down more north, we send it to them and they're like, I have water, what's going on? We don't want to alert anybody that,
Panic, you say.
Yeah, we don't want to cause panic where it doesn't need to happen. So we just blasted it to those residents in there. But again, on the map, there was only 42 residents that were opted in, and I know for a fact there's a lot more people in that area. So.
No, but the initial text to join.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
If you didn't get it, Katrina, all you have to do is text VOQ alerts to 91896, and it'll send you a response back saying yes to opt in, and you just reply yes, and you're in.
91816?
91896.
yeah. And the administrator will usually alert the council that there is a leak, so that, if people call us. So, I didn't get a message.
I haven't told her. I don't know if anybody else has. So I'll let her know this evening, but I just wanted to let you know.
And she'll be back when?
Tuesday of next week.
Next week?
Oh wait, Wednesday of next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next item is matters from mayor and council.
Mayor, I do have one concern. With all this talk about housing and everything else, once again, we need to get our zoning ordinance updated. And so we really need to push that forward before
this
anything happens, because
yes, we will get working on. We need to, and maybe that's a retreat. That might be a good discussion.
yeah,
Go through that, but that's gonna take a lot of work. So, but we can have an initial discussion on it.
and then again form the board.
Yeah.
I think there was one other thing I had. I can't think of it. Zoning. I don't know. If you guys have something, I'll come back to it.
We'll come back. Councilors?
Their landfill is still having trouble trying to fill the positions, and broken equipment is what they're dealing with. French is recommending that they rent equipment instead of purchase it.
How many employees are there in the launch equipment?
I think they're running like a skeleton crew, 3 or 4. They don't have many guys there at all. One or two running the compactor, and then probably 2 in the office.
Councilor Gonzalez, are you still running the neighborhood watch?
No.
No.
No, I know people were asking about that for our longest time, and our last meetings that we had, it was probably 3 or 4 or 5 individuals. And then as the police force came on, it seemed like,
People walked away.
it just seemed like it was, we were taken care of.
Good.
Yeah. I know a lot of people keep on asking and stuff.
There was some wood stolen from Dr. Jameson's the other night. Stole all the wood from the front of the building.
From the office?
It's right outside.
Like the firewood?
The firewood. Yeah, so that was a cold day.
I can be sympathetic to that.
You guys,
Right.
okay, so you guys have
A wood burning stove.
Yeah.
We make fires. And a furnace in the back, but
hey, I didn't know that.
the
That's
building's
pretty
so
cool.
old, there's
Yeah.
drafts all the time.
Were you, the Fiesta committee planning to do fiestas?
Yes, starting soon, and I was bummed that Larry and Correa weren't coming, because I'm gonna try to get him to have his event same day. So we are not having conflicting events. So we've been discussing it, so I will need help moving forward with the insurance of the fields and all that stuff. I haven't had our first official meeting yet.
We need to discuss that a little bit,
Okay,
the insurance part, and see how that works.
okay.
Municipal league. We went with municipal league last year, so municipal league should make it a little bit easier, but I was just curious because somebody asked me. So I don't think Mark even had some. But one of the things that has happened in the last week is we got a call from Mario Madueño,
No.
maybe Monday or Tuesday of last week, saying that he had been contracted by Ortega to do some grant writing for us on Molecor Field, and kind of took us by surprise because we didn't know that they were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew that the Gallegos is interested in helping us with Molecor Field and upgrading it. He was trying to get a grant in, and I think he may have gotten it in for trails around the field itself. But I think we do need to do a little bit of strategic planning and see what you all as a council want to do with that field as well. And they've already put together a plan with Ortega's, but I think we should all have to agree to that before we decide if that's how we want to move forward.
Right.
Would they be willing to come and present it to
I
us?
think so. Right. I think so. Next meeting is going to be pretty. We're going to have our audit presentation, so
Yeah.
that takes a little bit. So we might scale back on the presentations for next meeting and do them for the March 12th meeting. Maybe we can try and get them out here and do that a little bit. But I don't know, if we get grants on that, it'd be a good thing to revitalize it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I know right now, Securitas is closing the gate in the evening and locking it and opening it in the morning, so we don't have vandals in there, which is good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that has happened the last week. We did participate in Municipal Day. Councilor Gallegos was there, Councilman Jaramillo was there in his role as the county manager. I was there. Thought it went pretty well. We all got to talk, or I should say I got to speak about some of our projects. So we're moving forward. There's a couple of other things that we're moving forward on. I don't know if I told you last meeting, but I've had meetings with staff, particularly Ms. Shannon, Ms. V. Hill, and Chief, about doing some succession planning, and I want succession planning amongst all department heads and employees. Not that we're trying to replace anyone, but when they do decide to retire or if something, might go point to Ms. Shannon was if you can't come in tomorrow for the next 6 weeks, our employee's gonna get paid
Right.
and our bill's gonna get paid. I think that's kind of where she got it, and she's running with it, and she's working on succession planning with all the department heads as well, so I think that's a good thing. I think we've seen a lot of cross-training going on in the office. Since we've had that meeting, we've seen different department heads thinking about how who they're planning on their successors possibly being if they decide to retire. We did get an email, or I got a phone call from Henry Hamilton. They distribute food boxes to some of our residents. They were doing it in Cedro. They weren't allowed to do it there anymore, so he was looking for a place here in Questa. It's a 2 hours every 2 months that they come.
Well, it was like the Red Cross, I think?
Yeah,
It was the Salvation Army.
the
The
Salvation.
Army, yeah.
So we did offer up the youth center for them to do that every 2 months for 2 hours.
It's every other month for 2 hours. And there's quite a few people in Questa that benefit from the box. If you guys want to volunteer one day.
A weekday or a weekend?
They missed the January box, so they're trying to catch up, so we scheduled them for February 20th. And the way it works is the truck will bring the boxes, and they have a 2-hour window, let's just say from like 9 to 11, for those constituents that qualify to go pick it up. But if they can't make it within that window, that's where the volunteer comes in, and they just kind of man the boxes like from 3 to 5 in case those constituents can come back. And that's basically it. But if everybody picks up their boxes in the morning, then a volunteer doesn't have to go. Or if we don't have a volunteer, then they take the box, but the constituent misses out and they have to wait till they come back again.
Send us that info on the next time they come.
I think they already missed one
Yeah, January.
January. So he's been trying to make up.
February 20th, what did I say?
20th, yeah.
It's Tuesday.
Seems like that's a good thing.
Yeah, it seems like a good thing.
What do they do? They pick the same people that get the boxes from the old senior center?
No, it's an application, and they already have their qualified people. And we don't do anything, they actually call them directly and tell them the truck will be here on this day at this location from this hour to this hour. If you miss us, there will be a volunteer from this hour to this hour. Or there's no volunteers, so you can only pick up your box from this hour to this hour.
Oh.
But it's already a qualified list. And he did say he was going to provide information to me in case anybody wants information.
Okay.
What's in these boxes? Did I miss that? Sorry.
All he said was non-perishable or like shelf-stable items.
Food. They used to call them the commodities.
Oh.
Something similar to that.
Is that what the program's
But
called?
it's the Salvation Army
But
that's
they don't,
sponsoring it.
they don't give anything fresh, like
The
Right.
cheese.
except a box of cheese.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they do give the cheese, but it's not the same.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Similar to what the church does in Taos. There's one church. Isn't there one church in Taos that does that every week?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
I forget the name.
That north side one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same thing, because I've had to deliver that food before. Is there Councilor, did you remember? I know I had something else too to update you all on.
Yeah, no, I can't.
I'm trying to think what it was. I was thinking about it earlier. We did attend municipal day last Thursday. There's quite a few bills that we're hoping get passed. I've been paying a lot of attention to the legislative session, so I hope one of them is a grant match of $50 million that was applied to Mass federal grants. I think they may have passed the return to work for the law enforcement officers, which is a good one. Water trust fund, but one got approved too. Of course, this all has to go to the governor for her signature, but I'm just trying to think what else was there was a couple other ones that they discussed that hopefully they get through. But that means
One thing, Mayor, before you pound that gal. I forgot. On Thursday at the Central VFW, at the regular meeting at 4 o'clock, together with veterans from Taos, is going to do a presentation for all veterans. So if you guys know of anybody that wants to listen to this presentation, it's actually to help prevent suicide within rural areas for veterans. And I'm going to give a big old spill on everything that's involved with my committee with the governor and everything. So we're just trying to get more information out there to everybody that served.
Oh my gosh, piggyback, sorry, I just remembered something also. I know you're ready. You're ready. Is it possible for us, now that Councilor Gonzalez was talking about this, I do have a contact that used to work with, I spoke a little bit with Val about it, that used to work with PTSD patients in the VA, but he also has written a series of children's books. Is there a way that we could get him to come out to talk to our EMS about maybe just mental health with the things that they see and deal with? I don't know what that would look like or how we could arrange this. Or just get his contact information.
I'm big on that, so I think we can have this discussion with her now. See how we do that. We can have it with the chief too from the law enforcement side. I just know the last time I suggested anything like that to him, he was not too much in favor of it, but she probably would be. So I think I'm very big on that. I think that's a great idea. I think we need to follow up on that. So maybe talk to her, in the next couple of days or whenever you get a chance to see.
And then we'll get you all the contact info for this person.
Okay.
Thank you.
We do have a retreat on March 22nd, I believe. Are you all
22nd and 23rd.
still available for it?
Yes.
Okay.
All your rooms are booked already.
Okay. I don't know if Councilman Jaramillo is going to make it or not. I think he.
Just the one day.
You went to the meeting. I don't think he's going to make it.
Okay, we will adjourn at 7:50.